I only act out because I want your love.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If the four of you would be so kind, would you mind introducing yourselves?
I'm Sean from Myopic, and now Myopic and At the Graves. And I play guitar and I do vocals.
Hey, I'm Ben of At the Graves, collabing with these dudes as well. I do guitar and vocals in this project.
I'm Nick Leonard, bassist and singer for Myopic.
Hi, I'm Michael Brown. I'm drummer for Myopic.
And so, in case anyone is wondering why I'm interviewing two bands today, it's because Myopic and At the Graves have a collaboration coming out, which we'll talk about in just a little while. Let's start with Myopic. How would you describe the music that you make?
I guess we would usually say post-metal nowadays. We sort of started with, I guess, in a black and death metal territory, but we've always sort of had I wouldn't say proggy, but progressive side in the general sense of song structure and trying to think outside the box. Sean, you write a lot of the riffs.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd agree with that. It's hard to even. I mean, we've been together for over 10 years.
10 years.
10 years. I don't know. I'm not the history guy. I have pretty short-term memory. So to say that the band is inspired from just a couple or even a few, other bands or iterations or whatever would be hard because we've been together for so long and kind of evolved together. But yeah, definitely started out more in the sort of death doom kind of area, and as our songwriting skills and our playing skills progressed, we definitely kind of started embracing the proggier side, and yeah, just kind of going where it takes us.
And Ben, how would you describe the music of At the Graves?
I never really am like going for a specific subgenre or anything, but the touchstones would be like kind of like Godflesh, Neurosis, My Bloody Valentine, like a modern band like Sumac, I would say is very influential. But yeah, some like a combination of that, which I guess people would say is post-metal. I don't know.
So, I mean, I think both projects get referred to as post-metal, but as you mentioned, Myopic has a more black metal bass. There's a lot of tremolo picking. There are fast parts with blast beats. And Ben, as you described At the Graves, much slower, much doomier, more of a shoegaze kind of element to the project.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about At the Graves just for a second, since the Myopic guys kind of gave a brief history of their band. What led to you forming At the Graves?
I was like, this was a while ago as well, probably around when Myopic was formed. But like, yeah, like I was in like a thrash metal band playing drums at the time, and I really just like, I wanted to play more guitar, like write more riffs and write like slower, more like, I don't know, depressive and like expressive stuff, I guess. That was kind of the impetus for that. And it's always been like kind of more of a solo project, even when I had other members. Like I wrote all this stuff, and yeah, it eventually just I figured out how to do it by myself, like with the drum tracks and the looping and stuff. That's like the super condensed history of it, I guess.
Now, what led to you going about At the Graves as a solo project?
So like my bassist and my drummer left the band, and I was like, I figured I could like do the drum tracks in a cool way, kind of like Godflesh having electronic drums. And a lot of the music was kind of like building riffs on riffs kind of with different instruments. So it lent itself to like doing loops with guitar and bass. That's kind of how I figured out how to do that.
Was the choice to maintain At the Graves as a solo project just logistics? Just a matter of not finding the right people to work with?
It was like, yeah, at the time I didn't really like feel like going through finding new members again, and it was like I was in other bands too where I was playing with other people, so it's it's not like I didn't have bands where I could play with other people, but like just the way how the band was like, me writing all the music and the parts anyway, it just seemed like it lent itself to like doing a solo project. It just really felt right that way.
Now, as somebody who had previously been a drummer, how challenging was it for you to do At the Graves as a solo project?
It was challenging in that like figuring out how to like kind of set up my pedal board and the whole setup to like be able to, like sort of like reproduce the music at a level that I thought was acceptable, like in terms of like volume impact and like me being able to play the riffs, like all the parts. I mean, I've been playing guitar almost as long as I've been playing drums. I'm a little more like classically trained, I guess, on drums, you'd say, than guitar. So, I mean, playing this stuff isn't that big of a challenge. It's just more like the logistics of it, like figuring that out.
Your feet are kind of the other members of the band.
Yeah, my feet and the loopers.
So the logistics, meaning the technical side, the equipment.
Yeah, like the technical side.
So how did the four of you meet?
I think we started playing together in like 2013. Not as a band, but just playing gigs at the same time, sharing the stage, and I think we met first at Velvet Lounge in DC, which is no longer around 2013, and we played a number of shows together because we both got in with the same crowd and have a similar sort of doom and black metal kind of hybrid thing that a number of the bands around here are in one or both of those camps. So we ended up playing a lot of shows together.
So are you guys all based in the DC, Maryland area?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Ben's in Baltimore. We're just outside of DC.
So what led to you guys deciding to collaborate together, aside from knowing each other and playing shows together?
We had talked
I feel
about
like it just kind of made
a number of years.
Yeah, we did talk about it for a long time. It just felt like it made sense. As we were playing a lot of shows together. Yeah, we were playing a lot of shows together, and with At the Graves being a one-man band, it wasn't a hard addition, for us all to get together. We just needed to find the time, but we had been thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As different as our bands are, like I don't know why, but I always felt like there was a similar attitude or atmosphere or something that.
Yeah. There's some common ground, and I think we both liked what each other were doing, and certainly Ben. Once Ben was on his own, it was like, well, Ben plays everything. He writes all his own music. Like, it makes sense. Like, we like what he's doing. It's an easy addition to what we're doing. Have an extra songwriter in the mix. Another, he can play anything he wants. So
yeah, hey, come write some music for us.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it was more that you guys gelled as personalities more than the music that you're making. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We were all good friends, but I think we also we appreciated what we were doing musically too. If there was no personal connection, it probably wouldn't happen. But
we took a road trip and we bonded.
Yeah.
We did first try to do some touring together, which didn't go very far, but
air quotes around touring.
Yeah. We tried to do some touring, but that was going to happen originally, and then we had written our last album and had only started working on some new music, so it was a good time for us. If we were going to introduce someone else to the mix, it made sense where we were in our songwriting to bring on Ben when we did, which I guess was sometime in 2019.
Yeah,
it was either early 2019 or late 2018.
Late in 2018,
right.
yeah.
That was crazy.
Makes sense that it would be during the winter or something.
So obviously 2018, 2019, a very different time for the world. In terms of the collaboration, do you guys have a rehearsal studio that you were meeting at, or were you trading riffs back and forth over email?
Yeah, we met for the entirety of 2019, obviously, and in our practice space that Myopic uses in Tacoma Park. Ben kind of just met us there. But we did do some collaborating once the pandemic hit, though. I forgot how we actually did it, Nick.
Well, yeah, Ben submitted a few songs via email at the very start, and then we worked those out in person and did more songwriting in person. And then we didn't do any virtual collaboration until we were writing the vocals at the end, which was post-COVID. So all the instrumental stuff was done, right before, I guess, February 2020. So we were able to get a demo out like 2 weeks before the lockdown, and so we just did vocals digitally.
In terms of the writing process, how is collaborating with Ben different from your normal writing process?
It wasn't too different. In some ways, it was easier because we had more ideas to bounce around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it was challenging at some points figuring out what everyone was going to do. But I think Ben always brings a lot of ideas to the table, and most of the time we liked what he was doing. So it was fairly simple. We always write everything as a band in person. We don't do a whole lot of online, sharing recordings or anything. So it's all kind of just hashed out in the practice space.
Yeah, the practice space is pretty free flowing when it comes to creativity. So we kind of just hash out through jam sessions and kind of solidify things together in person.
Yeah, this was definitely a newer experience for me. Like this kind of like very kind of in person, like very democratic kind of writing style. I think it was like a little tough for me to get used to like at first, but I think it yielded some good results, and it was a cool experience to go through for sure.
Yeah, there was definitely a different, like we started out with like maybe a slightly different process than we ended up with. In that, I feel like you had been writing your own songs with At the Graves for a while, and to bring that influence into a more democratic style of songwriting was different. And so bouncing ideas off each other became easier and easier as time went on. And then you brought like sort of a super different tuning to
two different tunes
to the band, right? So tunings. that kind of took some working around.
Yeah,
it definitely it's an unusual process, but you have to be ready to have your ideas shot down, but also it's we just it all happens in person, and it's a strange experience, I think, for everyone to some degree, but it's not always the most the easiest writing space, but we have high standards for what we put out. I think it was one of our faster records though, and I don't think there was a whole lot of material that we just outright threw out. I think we pretty much tried to use most of the ideas that we have, but I think it's hard to keep
track of the material we threw out. We definitely threw out a good bit, and that's part of the process.
I think we reworked a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we rewrite and rework songs probably 10 times before they are how they are on the release, and it's always been that way for us, which it can be tough if you are attached to every single idea that you have, because sometimes it just gets cut, and that's sort of how Myopic has always functioned. But we're not being mean. It's our process, for better or worse.
Now, Ben, how difficult was that for you to enter that process?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a learning curve for sure. I mean, like even in the bands, just a member of, like, it's usually like, I'll bring full songs to the table. And this was like, as they're saying, it's very like every single part is under scrutiny. Like it can be chopped up. It can be totally different than what it was when I brought it to the table. So it was kind of hard to get used to, but it was also like, I don't know, it was just a really like kind of different experience. I was like, I don't know, I feel like it made me stronger as a like songwriter, and just like kind of like opened my mind to some stuff a little bit. Yeah.
It's definitely it's an unusual thing. I mean, for what it's worth, Sean and Mike and we've all started the band together, but I've written enough songs through the years that haven't made it into Myopic stuff that, I just started publishing them under my own name, because I had, a whole album's worth of stuff that hasn't become Myopic songs. So it is par for the course. But, I think it is a good thing, because what ends up on our albums, I'm happy with.
Yeah, it's not like it's not so much like a song is like one person's voice anymore. It's just like the collaboration like between all four of us, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be perhaps more disjointed if everyone was just bringing complete songs to the table. So this way it does, everything becomes myopic. It's no more any one of us.
The album that we're talking about is called A Cold Sweat of Quiet Dread, and it will be out on March 12th of 2021. What was the biggest challenge of this collaboration?
Yeah, I would say it's like kind of what I was saying, like getting out of my comfort zone writing and just like kind of like really like listening to everyone else like very like, I don't know, intently, or yeah, like just like a different kind of writing style, I guess.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's the first time for a long time that I've played with another guitarist too. So I had a similar sort of shock at first, where it's like, wait, you're going to play the solo? What the hell? And, but just with playing and experimenting and jamming, our roles in the band kind of fell more into place, and we started to learn what each other were good at, and how to just like let the other guy ride.
It's true. I think for all the other records we've made, I'm always trying to fill the role as the bass player and sort of second guitarist where needed, and delivering another counterpoint, another melody to a riff, because we only have the one guitarist. So with this time I was able to be a little more of a bass player. So for me, it was easier, I think, in a lot of ways. And I had two guitarists, so I could base lines off of either one, which was interesting.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's very hard writing these charts. Okay, don't mock it.
And to go off what Ben was saying earlier, everything under scrutiny, is a little hard to adjust to being a little more vulnerable when you get attached to an idea that you really like, and maybe someone else has a different idea that clashes or has a different contrast to what you were thinking. So being vulnerable definitely was hard to get used to.
Was this your most difficult record drumming wise, Michael?
Not necessarily, no. It was definitely different trying to tone myself down in a way, though.
Yeah, I think in a sense we all kind of were able to pull back a little bit because we have one extra member, so no one has to push themselves. Yeah, I mean, that way we're not stepping on each other's toes all the time, and I think we're used to like giving it a lot, and we still gave it a lot, but we're able to have be a little more relaxed because there's more stuff going on already.
Yeah, there's less room to work with everyone individually.
So Ben mentioned different guitar tunings that he used. How would you say Ben's guitar style complemented your guitar style?
It's weird.
Oh, yeah. I would say that I'm. I don't know what I am, but Ben definitely has this like great loose, kind of like really emotive style. He ended up doing most of the leads on the record, and a lot of just like the melody making, and the melodies I did bring in are very different than what I would have put together. Yeah, so it's great. I mean, we have completely different. Oh, and ambience, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that was huge for us.
Sean's the riff man, and I feel like Ben brought a lot of ambience and melody and just more freeform space to it, and so it's not all just riff based all the time.
Yeah.
Now, would you say the ambience is the biggest difference between this collaboration and previous Myopic releases?
There's so much different. I mean, we change our style up, every record, sometimes between songs, sometimes within songs. But this record, you'll find a lot more layering and sort of like careful pacing of songs. Definitely, yeah, a lot of that comes from having Ben do, some really kind of noise and ambient driven guitar work. But all in all, it really has, a different tone than any of the other records, I think.
I'm definitely my best feedback performance so far.
Yeah.
I think, some of it's just because we're always growing as songwriters, but I think the songwriting on this is more, more developed and mature than anything we've done previously. Not that anything in the past was bad, but we're always growing, and I think that these songs, make a lot of sense, and they don't jump around too much. There's lots of different moods in the album, but the songs are a bit more self-contained in what they deliver a little bit. Yeah, and there's a lot of good emotion in there that it's sometimes hard to get in a metal record.
So in addition to a second guitarist, you guys also had another vocalist to work with. How did you end up dividing the vocal lines?
We wrote the vocals. We tend to write vocals last, and we did with this one too. So we did those. We got all the instrumental songs finished and demoed right about before this whole COVID lockdown started, and then started vocal drafts. And we just sent stuff back and forth online for a while with, and people wrote, everyone, even Michael wrote some of the lyrics. And so we all just sort of collaborated online with how we were writing stuff. And it wasn't too organized in terms of who took what. Some songs are more, driven by one person or another because they wrote it. So.
Yeah, I got like a few different style of vocals that I can do, so it's kind of like, I don't know, trying to figure out where that can fit in to each part.
Yeah, I think this time maybe this is the first time where I've done only clean singing, and Sean is doing his
That's
growl.
Not true.
And then,
you did some screams in one or two of the songs.
Okay, maybe a little bit. That's probably true. I probably have a moment or two, but by and large, everything is like melodic focus. But Ben did, brought some clean singing as well as, mostly harsh vocals. But I feel like Ben's got the shouts and the anguished screams in this one, and Sean does a little more, I guess, mid-range type growls and screams. So it made sense. Everyone's kind of got their own unique vocal style at this point, and I feel like we're all confident enough in what we're good at that it just made sense. We know kind of who to use where for what part. So we have a lot of flexibility there, which is good.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, in terms of the lyrics, were the lyrics also a collaborative process?
Yeah, I would say like a one person wrote like the song, like any given song, but like I think it's pretty even split between all four of us, like generally speaking, on the record.
Everyone wrote some lyrics on this one. Yeah, so it was collaborative, and I think pretty much everyone contributed somewhat to the editing of all the songs. So some people wrote most of the lyrics for a song, but kind of everything was edited together and until we were all happy with everything.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you started this, or at least you started collaborating at the end of 2018. How long did it take for you guys to finish the writing process, and when did you actually record the music?
I think all the instrumentals took about a year, and then I suppose it was another few months for the vocals, and then we recorded it this summer in August, I think, or no, July of 2020. So yeah, we kind of started working seriously on it, I guess, around the start of 2019, and we were pretty much done with the music by the end of 2020, just about, and we did a final demo instrumentally, and then worked on the vocals up until basically the time we went into the studio. So a year and a half, I guess, total.
So as you alluded to, between completing the music and actually recording the album, the pandemic broke out, and every country and every city has had different ways of dealing with stay-at-home orders and things like that. What was your situation like in DC and in Maryland?
I guess it was
locked down,
fairly strict. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they're very strict. We're super condensed here. All the cities here, very overpopulated, and everybody's still, even though there was a quarantine going on, everyone still wanted to socialize and stuff like that. So it spread pretty quickly, and we were all just kind of locking ourselves at home.
Yeah, I think we got the first lockdown in like April or something.
Yeah.
And but basically we were like writing and like finalizing lyrics that winter, and had, a couple of months off or something that, we were just kind of tying up loose ends with the album before we recorded it. So
yeah, I think it was around February and March we started the lockdowns and we finished, I think it was sometime around the end of February 2020, we finished recording the instrumentals, and then just started working on all the lyrics and vocals online after that, just sending each other drafts back and forth until we were happy with it, and finished up a demo to send to the label, who's our recording engineer. But that took a few months. But that was the only thing that we sort of did remotely, and then we did record in person.
Yeah,
I think it was a little worrying.
We got together and played a few times before the recording session. Maybe like once or twice.
Yeah, we did have a couple rehearsals. It was probably definitely less than we would have done. But
absolutely. Yeah, I remember being kind of worried because we were so tight, when we were putting all the music together and then practicing and recording the demo. And then the pandemic came, and we started, doing the vocal stuff remotely. And I remember just kind of, being a little freaked out to go record with Noel, because I was worried we weren't going to be as tight as we were a few months before then.
Yeah, we're very used to working in person, so it was weird to be, even if we were practicing at home, and we had a demo to rehearse along with, but it's not the same. We're nice. Just, we're not. We don't record to a metronome. We don't rehearse to a metronome. So, we're used to everything being a little more free form within our own time, which has to be in person.
Now, Ben, as a solo artist, you're obviously very comfortable with recording on your own. Was this the part of the process that you were most comfortable with?
Yeah, it was no big deal for me. I wasn't sweating it really. I mean, there's definitely the aspect that like Nick and Sean were talking about, where it's like that's a little different from what I do, where it's like, like there's a certain like connective like energy, I guess, being in the same room, and kind of like, the ebb and flow of the tempo with like Mikey's drumming and stuff. Not saying that his drumming is like whatever, like not solid. He fucking kicks ass, but like, yeah.
We change tempo sometimes. It's intentional by and large.
Yeah, I'm like also kind of like somewhat of a recording engineer myself, and so is Nick. So like we do a lot of recording. I don't know, like for me personally, like I'm never really super intimidated by the recording process anyway, so yeah.
But just in terms of working remotely, this must have been very familiar for you.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree. I mean, like everyone's been saying, like the nature of the project was more like collaborative in person, so that was a bit of a something to get used to, I guess. But I mean, it was fine. Like I practiced on my own. Everyone practiced on their own, I think. So it turned out pretty well, I would say.
So the album was recorded by Noel Mueller, who will also be releasing it through his label, Grimoire. Mueller has released, I think, most of Myopic's discography. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
we
all
started
but
working
2 releases.
Yeah, our first 2, we did the first 2 were self-released, and then we've done 2 more EPs with him, a full length, and this will be our second full length with Grimoire.
So tell me about Noel. Tell me how you guys met him and how you ended up working with him, both as an engineer and as a label.
I think he contacted us after our second EP. He liked what we were doing, and I think he just reached out to us on Facebook or something and said, "You guys want to be on a label?" I think Sean talked to him a little bit, and yeah, you never know with a record label if it's legit, if it's going to be some kind of, if they're going to just want to take all your, especially for small bands, oftentimes labels want you to pay them a bunch of money and they'll give you some amount of press or something, or, so, but it's a very small local label, and he's not in it for the money. So he gives us a really good deal on recording. He does a good job as a recording engineer, and he really just sort of does it as a labor of love to help support the scene and make good records. And we are able to just split the profits on the CD sales, and so that's no problem. He's doesn't charge us well below market value for the work he does, I'll say that. So we have fun working with him.
Now, as a recording engineer, what would you say he brings to your sound?
He's got a pretty nice room that he records in. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's got pretty good taste in terms of how to mix and mic something. So I like it. He appreciates the room sound with the drums, which is I'm always about.
Yeah.
He really likes the room sound. He used to, when we started working with him, he would come to us with a mobile recording rig. And our practice space is not anything great acoustically, but at least we've treated it with moving blankets, so it's not super reflective. So it made an okay recording chamber, but it's dead in there. And so he, in the last few years, bought a house, and so he's got a big basement now, and we've got a concrete stairwell for creating the ultimate drum room echo chamber. And it's not all just reverb plugins. He really records. Yeah,
there's no fake reverb
echo.
Yeah,
no, he doesn't need it. We have to tell him to pull back the reverb sometimes, but it's all very much real. And he, I think he's a big fan of electrical audio and Steve Albini. So he likes doing things kind of the old school way. It's analog. It's real. It's not there's no samples on the record.
Analog, but
well, okay. Compared to doing everything totally in the box, we are, at least the drum rooms are. The drum room is real. Yeah. The drums are all real. There's no sampling. There's no. We didn't even record it to a metronome, which, we use metronomes for sort of a guide point, but it's not all done to a click. It's not super edited. There isn't a lot of overdubs. We did very few takes on this. I think the guitars we kind of overdubbed. I guess we totally overdubbed the guitars after but the live takes were probably usable. Yeah. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of, it's a much more old school recording process than most bands are doing these days. So
yeah,
and that's just a lot of that is Noel's ethos. He won't let us do it any other way, and which we're okay with.
Now, Ben, is this the first time that you worked with Noel?
Yeah, recording wise, it was cool. I've talked to him about doing certain things in the past, but it's also being a kind of a recording engineer as well. It's I usually just record my own stuff. But it was cool to finally work with him. I've talked to him about recording nerd stuff, over the years for sure. So it was good to finally have him record something I'm doing.
Was having an extra member for the recording. Did it affect or change the way you guys recorded at all?
Not
I
really.
mean, I guess like Sean didn't double track his guitars, right? Then you usually do that.
That's right.
Yeah, normally Sean would have to double everything for the stereo image. So this time we just had 2 guitarists, which took about the same amount of time. So, but we record drums first, and we do that live as a band, and then we overdubbed the guitars and the vocals. But yeah, it was pretty similar. We did this whole album in probably less than 20 hours. It was one weekend, so probably two long days, which was ambitious and perhaps a bit rushed, but especially because of the pandemic and all, we were trying to minimize the amount of time we were there, and so yeah, it was a hell of a weekend, I guess. but it was fairly normal for us.
I think by the time people hear this podcast, the album will be coming out in a little under 3 weeks. What do you want people to experience when they listen to the album?
I don't know, boners, like just like getting real wet, like just real good vibes. I don't know, bad vibes. I don't know, just vibes in general.
Sad vibes.
Yeah,
all kinds of vibes. I think we tried to put a little bit of
vibe on this,
Yeah. We tried to capture a lot of different emotions. There's some fast songs, there's some slow songs, there's some sad stuff, and some more proggy, jammy stuff. I think it's a good experience to just, do some deep listening and enjoy everything that goes into it. There's a lot going on. So if you just put on as background music, you'll miss a lot. So it's a good thing to, listen to it like 10, 20, 30 times, really get into it and, maybe write some Guitar Pro tabs for your favorite licks. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Give us that Spotify money,
Now, are there plans for another collaboration?
I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we'd continue this in the future.
Yeah.
Like,
What do you guys think?
Yeah. We haven't made any official plans, but I think we're all down for it. I mean, I think
we've talked just only briefly about it. We're all, a little scattered maybe because of the pandemic. I'm house sitting right now in North Carolina, kind of randomly, kind of living away from home. So we might end up running some stuff remote going into it next time or this time. But yeah, I think we should definitely collaborate again. Right, guys?
Yeah, for sure. I got some riffs even, like
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got some riffs.
Yeah.
What do you guys do now?
I mean, I think it's the I'm happy to say that I think it's the best record we've done, and I say that after every release we make. But I think definitely like this, having Ben really adds a lot to it. Then I was very happy with what we were doing as a 3-piece, but now that we've added Ben into the mix, it's sort of like I don't really want to go back. So
yeah,
we've hesitated on getting another guitarist. It's a an honored spot that no one else has earned yet. But I think Ben brings something more than just another rhythm guitar or something. He definitely has a whole new side of the music that we just didn't have. So.
And that's why it's a collaboration with At the Graves and not just Ben Price.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the whole band,
It's the whole band.
So, A Cold Sweat of Quiet Dread is the name of the collaboration between Myopic and At the Graves, and it will be out on March 12th through Grimoire Records. Fellas, tell people how they can order the album. What's the best way to get this?
Grimoire
Records. Yep, on Bandcamp. It will be out on other platforms as well, but go pick it up on Bandcamp. We are going to have a physical CD, which looks really great with awesome cover art by Austin Sullivan. Yeah, go to the Grimoire Records Bandcamp. That's the best way to get it. You can order physical or digital.
And I should mention that you guys have your own Bandcamp pages as well, and the album will be out on there, right? Or at least the digital version?
Yes, sales may be all through Grimoire, but if you look either of us up, we will have it on our Bandcamp. You can listen to it, and you can, if not buy it there, find a link to buy it. So
Yeah,
Definitely.
It'll be on our Spotify's too, like in streaming platforms.
Yes.
So, if people want to follow Myopic online, how can they do that?
It's very easy at myopicdc.com. We also have a Facebook page and an Instagram. Instagram, yep. What is the Instagram handle, Sean?
It's myopic_band.
And Ben, if people want to follow At the Graves online, how can they do that?
Check out At the Graves Bandcamp, atthegraves.bandcamp.com, At the Graves Facebook page, facebook.com/atthegravesband, and At the Graves Instagram, which is @the.graves. Don't check out the @_the_Graves Instagram. That's a very bad band from Pennsylvania. Fuck them. Yeah,
Beef.
that's how you can do that.
Battle for the name.
The Graves. The dots. You want the dots.
And the lowercase the on Spotify, right?
I don't think they're on Spotify anymore, the other band. I think it's just me. But
Their credit card was declined.
yeah.
They ran out of money.
Yeah.
This is great. This is like on old hip hop radio when rappers would start beef with each other.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, they're definitely still on Spotify, dude.
They're on Spotify?
Yeah, and you watch out. They got 3 monthly listeners.
Dude, you gotta duel them for
There
the
is another Myopic too, but they are an ambient group from Texas or something, and we're cool with them, I guess.
And we're happy to have absorbed their discography.
Yeah. I don't know if it still is, but at least for the last few years, it's all been on our. So if you're listening to us and ambient album comes on, it's not us, but it's all cool. So I'm into ambient music too. So. It's all good.
Yeah, you didn't ask anything about our ambient albums.
We are all caps Myopic. They are all lowercase Myopic. So we're loud Myopic and they're quiet Myopic.
Honestly, that should have been the collaboration. I don't know why you guys let that slip through your hands.
Yeah,
we've joked about it before, but I haven't actually talked to them. Maybe that'll be the next project. We'll absorb Ben, so we'll go absorb another band next.
Yeah.
So I realize it's hard to make plans at this point in time, but are you guys able to write music? Are you guys able to work together? I think Nick said that he's in North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm in North Carolina right now. But I've got.
Oh, sorry, Sean. Sean said he's in North
I've got
Carolina.
my guitar with me, and Nick's kind of been tutoring me through Reaper and recording my own riffs and stuff. So yeah, I'm working on a. Yeah, it is. Because I'm back in school now, so I have pretty limited brain space. But yeah, working on catalog riffs and keeping in shape guitar-wise. So yeah. Yeah,
we're all able to, record pretty much on our own at this point, except for Mike. I guess it's hard to record drums on his own, but if he wants to, he can always send us drum beats via Easy Drummer. But yeah, it's we all have certainly Ben and I have pretty good recording setups for everything we need. So yeah, we both have studios. We can even record drums here. So we're able to, we don't have anything written yet, but as soon as the ideas start flowing, we can start working at home and eventually meet up in person when we have some things to actually play and hopefully some gigs to play so we can support this album.
And Ben, what about you? What do you have planned for the future?
I mean, I've been working on a few riffs for, further stuff with this collaboration. Also, I have a lot of other bands too. I've been working on like my death metal band, Immiseration. I'm working on a full length for that. Among other things, my other band, Fohammer, and Elagabalus have records that are probably going to come out sometime this year. But yeah, it's pretty much what I'm doing.
Is there anything else you guys want to say?
You can also check out my solo work at nick-leonard.bandcamp.com and follow me on YouTube if you can find me. There's a lot of Nick Leonards on YouTube, but I'm the one who talks about guitar stuff. So if you need more.
If If you want to check me out on YouTube, I'll have a lot of like video content for this project. I mean, my name's Ben Price. I think my username, the URL is like altered state 666 or something.
Whoa,
I mean,
brutal.
15 years ago. But yeah, like I'll have all like the video content for this shit if you want to check that out.
Yeah, Ben has put together the one studio video for one of our songs that is out, and as well as he did a playthrough, a guitar playthrough at home for that. And hopefully we're going to be releasing another video or two, maybe some more studio footage, and hopefully we'll shoot a proper music video at some point.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
It's impolite to slurp one's soup.
Oh, no need to resort to ugly stereotypes.